Hey guys, Sarah and Bryony here from Work Life Glue, and today we're going to do another daycare day video where I talk about something daycare related. Now, a couple of you have asked in the comments if I would talk about terminating care, and what does terminating care mean? Terminating care is when you basically say we're no longer honoring this contract, your family will no longer be enrolled in my daycare, and that's basically the very basic version of it. So today I thought I would walk you guys through what a termination looks like, why you would terminate, how, when, money aspects of it, how much notice to give, and all those kind of things. So it's kind of like Terminating Care 101. Now, I'm no expert, as I've talked about in every video. I'm no child care provider expert, but I will say I personally have terminated families before, and it is a very serious thing, but it was important for me to do. So let's just jump right in and I'll give as much detail as possible. Let's get started. So firstly, the question is, why would you terminate care for a family? And there are four main reasons why you would probably terminate, but there are all kinds of reasons. It really just comes down to personal preference, and each situation is different. So firstly, you might terminate care if the parents are very disrespectful. And this could mean they are being rude to you, they don't care about your time, they've made offhanded comments, they want to change your policies. Just things like that you don't want to deal with, and you just are at your breaking point and you just don't want to deal with it anymore. Another reason is that maybe the parents are breaking your contract. Maybe they're paying late, they haven't paid in a long time, they're not paying the late fee when they pay late, maybe they're arriving late and you've talked about it and just nothing has changed, and so you're just fed up because you run a business and they're not treating your business as a business, and so you need to terminate care for that. Thirdly, maybe there's some big conflicts going on within the family. Maybe the parents are getting divorced and they're putting you in the middle, or maybe it's become really hard on the child and you just don't want to be involved in this. It's become out of control. Maybe one parent has become like violent, or you didn't know they were violent. Maybe there's domestic abuse issues you just don't want to be tangled up in for the safety of your other kids and just legally and being part of your home. You don't want people coming into your home that have a history of stuff like that. So that might be another reason. And then lastly, if the child has some major issues, maybe they are biting constantly and you just can't get control of it, and so it's harming the other children. Maybe they're very violent, they're pushing kids off of play equipment or things like that. Maybe it's an infant who screams all day and you've tried for months and it's not getting better, the parents aren't working with you, and you just can't put your other kids through that. You can't put the baby through that every day anymore, and it's just really wearing on you. Maybe it's an older child destroying your home and the parents just don't care, or you just can't get it to stop. All of these are valid reasons to terminate, and it really just comes down to, as a provider, what are you able to deal with, what are you not? Are the parents willing to work with you on these things? Are they not? And sometimes you just get to a point where it's not worth it anymore. It's not worth keeping the family. It's hard on you, it's hard on the kids, you're not as good of a provider because you're upset every day, things like that. You just want to really look out and protect your business and the other families that are amazing, that aren't disrespecting you, and the parents who expect to not have their kid bitten every day, things like that. You just really have to watch out for your group and your own family. If there's a family that's maybe a child is really hard on your own child, you don't want to put your own kid through that every day, and if you've worked on it and it's just not getting better, it might be time to terminate. But that's totally personal preference. I'm not going to get into you should term over this and you shouldn't term over that. It really is personal preference of what you can handle, what you can't, and each situation is so different. And there are all kinds of other reasons you might terminate as well, but those are like the four main ones that many people terminate because of. Now, it's important to remember you can't discriminate and term because of race, religion, sex, nationality, ethnic background, or disability. So if you've come to the decision to terminate, you just can't deal with it anymore, maybe the parents just aren't willing to work with you or whatever it is, and you just are not able to continue care with this family, let's talk about how, when, and the money aspect of it all and the timeline. So the very first thing you have to think about is, what does your contract say? What do you say in your contract about terminating care? I personally say in my contract that I can terminate at will for any reason or no reason with any notice. So I could terminate immediately, have a parent come pick up and say we're done, or I could give notice, and I can terminate for no reason. So I could just say I just don't want that spot anymore. I want a smaller group, you know, whatever it is, I can terminate for any reason. That's in my contract that they signed. We've talked about it. But your contract may say something different. So you got to make sure you actually follow your contract or change it and have parents re-sign it if it's not something you want it to be. And that way they can't come after you. Well, they can always come after you, but they won't win if they come after you when your contract says, you know, I could terminate at will at any time for any reason. So that's really important because you don't want to go against what your contract says. Secondly, you need to think about how urgent is this? Is it a parent who threatened your life, is a very toxic person, and you don't want them in your house anymore, so you need to make it immediate? Or is it something that, you know, you've worked on it, the child is just not a good fit for your group, but you could wait a couple weeks? I would recommend waiting as long as possible if you're able to. Probably about 2 weeks is a good amount of time, just to end on the best terms, allow the parents some time to find alternate care. But if it's a safety issue or the parent is just super disrespectful and you do not want that in your house and they don't really deserve extra time if they've treated you really poorly, that might be an urgent situation. And it really just depends on the situation and weighing the benefits. Now, also think about your community. Do you want the parents bad-mouthing you? I always think of, in these situations, how can I end on the best terms? So I've provided 2 weeks for the times I've terminated care. The parents don't always use it, but I offer it because it hasn't been like a dire situation in my situations. But if it is, feel free to make it urgent. And then thirdly, you want to think about, is it worth keeping money? Now, with me, I have parents prepay for the next week. So they pay me on Fridays for the next week. They're paying for the spot, not for the care. So they don't pay after I provided care, they pay before. So when I've terminated care, they've already paid for a week. And my parents also pay the last 2 weeks up front. So what I do is, in that situation, if I terminate on Friday and they've already paid for the next week, plus they've paid for the last 2 weeks already, I pretty much owe them a week because they've paid for 3 weeks and I only am allowing them to stay for 2, for example. I personally go get a cashier's check and give them that 1 week amount of my rate so that they're not overpaying me. Now, if a parent was way behind and they did end up paying you a week and they were behind on other payments, I wouldn't refund it in that situation. But I just recommend you do what feels best, what feels the most honest. The last thing you want is to make parents even more mad, because chances are they're going to be upset that you're terminating care no matter the situation. So I just try to soften it as much as possible. I give them as much money as I'm comfortable giving them without like overdoing it. But I might even waive a week or 2. I might say, you know, if you don't come those last 2 weeks, I'll refund your last 2 weeks or whatever it is. You just really want to end on the best terms you can, but obviously if they're way behind on paying you, I wouldn't refund any money. Now the question is, how do you go about terminating care? Do you terminate in the morning, at night, over the phone? I think the best way to terminate care is at the end of the day. Maybe text the parent or email and just let them know you need to talk to them about something at pickup. That way they know and are prepared to wait a little bit, because you don't want to do it in front of other parents. So if they pick up at a time when a lot of parents are there, they can know to stick around, let the other parents leave, and then you'll talk to them then. I would personally have a typed out written letter that you will give them and keep a copy, have them sign it, and it should just be very brief and not have any detail about why. So you'll just say, care for child X will be ending on whatever date, and then explain any of the financial parts of it. Will you be refunding money? Will you not? What will be owed? What will be given back? That kind of thing. And then just sign your name. You don't want to include any reason on paper of why, because it just gives them more ammunition to come after you and to upset them. And then what I typically say, I don't give a lot of detail. I would just say, I don't think your child is the best fit, or I don't think your family is the best fit for my daycare. You know, I wish you guys the best, but I just don't think it's working out. And they may come after you and say, you know, I don't understand, I thought things were going so well, or I hate your daycare, whatever it might be. And I would just practice and be prepared to just repeat, you know, I'm trying to end this on good terms. I just don't think your family is the best fit, but I wish you guys the best, or whatever it may be. Going with the line of best fit is a really good one, because it's not, at the end of the day, people are different, and it's best to just go with that, because it's not really their fault, it's not really your fault, it's just not the best fit. You know, you can't really argue with that. They may try, but you can just keep repeating that until they leave. If it is an immediate termination, make sure you have all the child's stuff ready. Any backup clothes, diapers, medicine, sleeping bags, mats, whatever it may be, pillow, blanket, comfort item, whatever it is, make sure you have it ready to go. And I would also recommend you have any tax forms ready to go. That way you don't have to deal with them the next year at tax time. Just give it to them then you don't have to re-engage the situation and talk to them again in the future. And then that's as basic as it is. And obviously it feels a lot harder, and it is a lot harder to actually put into action, but that's as simple as it actually is. And I would just try to keep it as simple as possible. Don't argue, don't over explain, just practice, 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 just simple one-liners, because nothing you say is going to fix the situation. It's just going to aggravate them the more you say. If other daycare parents ask you about it, like, why is this child not there anymore, I would personally not say much. I would just say, you know, they're not attending daycare anymore. That's all I can say. You really legally don't want to say anything. You don't want them to know that you termed or there was an issue. You just want to keep it very confidential and professional. Now remember, this is not an easy thing to do. It's really hard, but almost always it's worth it. If a family is just not a good fit for your daycare, if you don't feel happy in your home with parents that disrespect you or whatever it may be, or your days are really hard because this child is just draining all your energy and you can't be good for the other kids, just know that it's the right decision. It may feel really crappy in the moment, you may feel really bad, but you got to do what's best for you and your business and your family first and foremost, and your group of other kids and families. Also remember that not everyone is the best fit. You are not going to be the best provider for every kid on the planet, and not every kid on the planet is going to be the best fit for you, as well as families. We are all imperfect beings. We all have specific personalities. It's okay if it doesn't work out. It may not feel that way, but it is okay. As providers, we are caring individuals. We want to care for people. We hate letting people down. So terminating care may be really hard emotionally. I know it is for me. I don't get sleep before. I don't get sleep after. I feel awful. I feel a weight lifted after, but I still feel awful. But that's okay. It's normal. It's okay. It's not going to feel amazing. No, who likes upsetting people? Most people don't like upsetting people. But know that that's normal and it's okay. And it's just part of the process. And then just remember, you can't please everyone all the time. If you tried to please all your daycare families all the time, you would burn out, because every family has specific things they want and need, and you can't cater to every single person. You are a business, you have policies they sign on with. You can't just change everything for everyone and please everyone. So a lot of times terminating care may be the only thing you can do. And it's hard and it's frustrating, but it a lot of times is the right decision. I hope this gave you guys a detailed look into terminating care. If you have any specific questions about this topic, please leave them in the comments. I'd be happy to help, and maybe others will chime in as well. It is a pretty heated topic. It is a hard topic to talk about, especially having done it. I don't want to talk about any of the details, but I have experienced it, so I do feel like I can share about it. If there are any other daycare day related topics you want to talk about and have me film a video on, please leave any suggestions in the comments as well. This video came from a suggestion, and I would love to keep them coming to help you guys and just have you think about things in a different way. Even though I'm not an expert, I just think talking about it can help others think about things in a different way, and then maybe you guys can help me look at these issues in a different way as well, because we just want to be the best providers at the end of the day. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye guys.